Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Nintendo Review Podcast. As always now, with a regular team, there's Nick from Russia, there's Lee from Taiwan, and there's Greg from Northern Ireland. But I actually don't know where you're from. Is it Belfast? Are you near Belfast?
No. Near Ballymena. I guess everywhere's pretty close in Northern Ireland. It doesn't take that long to get anywhere, really.
Do you know, I naively thought Northern Ireland was like the top half of Ireland.
That's it.
And have you seen the map of it? And it's like a little slither of Ireland, isn't it? Yeah. And then I was looking, I was like, you've not got a bad football team considering there's about 50 people who live there.
Yep.
And you still couldn't get in the squad. How you doing, Lee?
Really good. Lovely day today. I haven't been out. It's absolutely beaming sunshine out there. I have popped out once, but I need to get out before the sun sets.
And what about you, Nick? How's Russia?
Also beaming sunshine. I'm going to go out after this, hopefully.
Oh, I keep forgetting it's not early in the morning for you, is it? Or late at night or whatever it is.
It's nearly 11.
It's all changed.
Yeah. Now it's early.
We've got a hell of a lot to talk about. A ridiculous amount to talk about. Probably about an hour and a half's worth of stuff to talk about. So let's get straight into it.
Oh, before that, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Transition music answer. Boys had it last week, and you said it was an easy one because you played it. What was it?
Golf Story.
It was, yeah. It was from the Well-Worn Grove, which was the first level. Very recognisable if you've actually played the game. Once again, guess this transition music that's coming up. Email me, Lee at nintendoreview.co.uk, Twitter at Nintendo_review. Get in touch with us on our Facebook page, Nintendo Review, all one word, and join us on Discord through our Facebook and Twitter accounts.
So let's chat very briefly about what we've been playing. Lee, I want you to go first, because I've played this game, and I have certain views on this game. Let's see if we can really brief discussions about these games that we've been playing. So, Lee, what is the game that you've been playing this week?
I've been playing Valiant Hearts, a 2D puzzle platformer set in the Great War, 1914 to 1918, and it's using the Ubisoft art engine that was also used with Child of Light. So it's got that kind of, wonderful looking... But I say wonderful looking. I think Child of Light looked really wonderful, and the Rayman Legends looks wonderful. This doesn't quite look up to that standard. There's this disjunct because it's more cartoony. There's this disjunct between what the story they're trying to get across is this emotional, heart-rendering loss of family members and all that during the Great War, and this extremely cartoony look just didn't sit well together. And I know it can in some other mediums. It doesn't in this game. It's got simple puzzle mechanics, really simple puzzle mechanics. Environmental puzzles like pressing the A button to grab hold of a lever and then pull down on the analog stick to pull the lever down, which causes something to like a ladder to drop, and then you can walk up the ladder. So there's all these little simple puzzles which link together for you to finish a level, and it basically looks and feels like a mobile game. You could do it on the touchscreen. I actually didn't do it on the touchscreen. I played it on the TV with the analog stick, and it worked relatively well, but I found the puzzles to be overly simple. There's a guard standing in the way. He wants white wine. I bring him a bottle of wine. No, I don't want red wine, I want white wine. You go and find the white wine, you give him the white wine, he moves out of the way, you carry on. The game itself is too linear, too simplistic in its puzzle elements, too like. The only thing that kind of held it together a little bit better for me was the story. It tells you about the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in Sarajevo that started the Great War, and then it starts off with certain members who you're going to follow throughout the entirety of the game getting drawn into the war and how they end up there, and it tells their stories. Basically, there's a grandfather called Emil. Karl is his grandson who's married his granddaughter, but he's German, so he ends up on the opposite side. So it's trying to do this dichotomy of, am I going to kill my grandson? Is he going to kill me? All that. And it also throws in the war dogs, and it tells the history of the Great War in stills, basically, and in extras and bits and pieces. It shows pictures from the Great War. It tells letters from Russian soldiers and English soldiers back to their loved ones. So it's telling this true story in the background of what's happening in this fictitious story. and it doesn't quite fit together. It never goes far enough in depth. I love history and all. I talked about Wolverblade fulfilling all the kind of Roman history, and the man went to the forts and took photos of it and videos, and he's telling the history of all the weapons and everything in here. It doesn't quite go far enough for me. And there's basically kind of like 3 different elements in the game. There's left to right running, action areas, there's the puzzle mechanics, and then there's this nursing. There's a nurse called Anne in it, and she can heal wounded soldiers by playing this overly simplistic rhythm game by pressing A and B button to heartbeat blips. And once again, that kind of sums up the whole game. It's just overly simplistic, too simplistic. I finished it in 8 hours. And there's an extra cartoon about 2 dogs who, I'm not going to spoil it if you ever play it, but 2 dogs and their story that go through the Great War as well, and it tells you like 30,000 dogs also lost their lives, and overall, disappointed.
Interesting. I can genuinely say I absolutely loved Valiant Hearts.
Amazing.
It is simple, but it just didn't bother me. I cannot believe you didn't mention the music.
Oh, yes, yeah. The tranquil pieces of music. And one piece of music, which was, well, it's not even a piece of music, it's just a piece of scene. When you pause the game, because you've gone from these scenes of bombardment, you know, you bomb, and you get the bombs are just raining down, and then you pause the game. And it's basically like sitting in this tranquil meadow, and it's just this wind whistling past you. The soundscape is really good in the game, yes. I can't get over
I downloaded the soundtrack.
Really?
Oh, I think the music is stunning, stunningly beautiful. I find it really sad. I think it is simple. I don't mind easy games, sometimes simple games. I felt as if I genuinely believe that they should play this game in schools. Like, if you can imagine in a primary school or something like that, and because it is quite simple, and you're playing through it, and you do learn about history and the horrors of it, but it's presented in a. It's not really grotesque. It's like I was like, they should play this in everybody's school, because kids would engage with the history and about the war, and they could do the controls, and they could do it as a group. You know what I mean? Like, tell each other what to do. And I was just like, I
agree, because my son has been learning about World War II and the Great War as well in school. And I think this would be a good game for him. It's just not for me. Who knows about it already? Maybe. Yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. But I found it. I guess it was just like the fact that there's a game about World War One and it's teaching you about history and World War One, which was still kind of. I found it fun to play, and there's little shooty bits and bits where you're in the cars and it changes perspective and you got to dodge all the things. It is really simple, but I was like, this is fine. I was like, I liked it. I liked it a lot. But I remember distinctly playing it, going, they should play this in schools. Because this is how you engage kind of kids in history, and I think it does that well. That's interesting. So you're like 5 out of 5. I was like, have any of you guys played it?
No, not me.
No. Play it. See what you think. So what have you been playing, Nick? Obviously, you said you've been playing Enter the Gungeon. So
yep.
Tell us what you've been playing.
I had a bit of a nightmare last weekend when my TV decided to die. So I was a little bit worried that I would have to use handheld mode, which I don't do very often.
Well, if it wasn't there, you would have no games at all. So.
True. I just plugged my PC monitor into my Switch instead. So, I've been playing Enter the Gungeon. I'm dying a lot in that, and also Dark Souls, which I've been dying a lot in as well. Dark Souls has been about 2 or 3 months since I played it. I tried to continue my original file. I was at some boss at the end of the Undead Burg, I think it's called, the Undead Burg. I was at the first boss there on the bridge, and even getting to the boss was just like, I kept dying, so I was like, right, screw this, I'm going to start a new file. And I beat the boss, I think second time, maybe first time, I can't remember now. And I got to where I was in just over an hour and a half, where it had taken me 5 hours to get to previously. So I really, really like this game. It is hard as nails. And I'm completely stuck now. I have no idea where to go. So I'm just very slowly and methodically going through it. And definitely recommend picking up Dark Souls if you want something a little bit different and you've never played a game like this before. It's very different from anything I've ever played personally, and I'm really enjoying it. That's it. That's all.
Cool. Enter the Gungeon, in the new update for Enter the Gungeon, have they made it easier? Have they got an easy mode on it, or no? Is it still?
Oh no, not that I saw anyway.
What they have done is they've tweaked It is a little bit easier, apparently, according to the developers. They've tweaked it so you are more likely to get insanely powerful weapons, which will give you an easier ride through the game.
Good. Good. Greg, I tell you what, no one knows what you've been playing, so I'll very quickly talk about what I've been playing. I've not got loads to say about it. So I've been playing through. I'm pretty much at the end now. I was going to wait, but I'm pretty much at the end. Mario and Rabbids DK Adventure, the DLC, but it's pretty substantial. It's like closer to 10 hours. It's like a game in itself. And I don't know if you guys played the Mario and Rabbids. I did, and when I first started playing it, I loved it. I thought, yeah, this is as good as everyone says. It's very different. It's really fun. And then after a few hours, and it wasn't changing that much, I was just like, this is really boring. Really, really boring. And I gave up on the game after halfway. I was like, I'm just not going to play it. This is just the same thing over and over again. The levels aren't changing that much. It's just dull. Just dull. And then I bought, because I'm me, I bought all the DLC before I even played the game, because they released it at the same time. I was like, oh, I'm blatantly going to love this game. I'll buy the DLC pack and stuff like that. So I had DK Adventure. I didn't look at any of the other DLC stuff that they released. And then they released the trailer for this. I thought, oh, it looks quite good, being Donkey Kong. It's a bit different. I'll give it a go. That was obviously, a year ago or whatever. And I finally gave it a go. And I will say, this is so much better than the main game. And I've thought about this about a lot. I've thought about Golf Story. I think this about a lot of games. I think it's because it's a third of the length or half the length of the game. Like, if I thought I had 20 hours to play of this game, I probably would give up on it. I'd probably be like, no, this is too much. But because it's much shorter, it feels like, oh, okay, it's not going to outstay its welcome. So that's made a big difference to it. And actually being Donkey Kong and these new mechanics and stuff is really fun in the game. So actually, I'm enjoying this a hell of a lot more. It's pretty much the same game, but it just does enough from the Donkey Kong theme, and even the story is more interesting. Like, I don't know if you've, like, in the first one, I think the first boss you meet is the Donkey Kong Rabbid, which is a really great character. It's a really good boss fight. It's probably the best boss fight in the game, to be honest. And he's the main character, obviously in the Donkey Kong Adventure. So the whole story revolves around him stopping you from stealing all his, because Donkey Kong's turned up. He's worried about all his bananas and his special bananas, so he's doing everything in his power to stop you kind of getting it. And it's even that story's more interesting and more funny, and the cutscenes are still brilliant. And yeah, it's kind of really good. And I'm like I say, I'll probably finish it this weekend. I think I've got a couple of levels to go. And it's like, if it's almost like, I wish to release this on as a standalone game, like they did with Torna on Xenoblade 2, because I would feel like this could appeal to a lot more people. Although it's sold brilliantly, so what do I know? But it's like, if I was going to say, if this is a separate release, just get this. Like, sell this for like 20 quid. Brilliant game. Cool. Have you played any of the Rabbids?
Yeah. I love the actual, when you get into a level and you're playing the XCOM kind of RPG turn-based game, I loved it. It's the overworld stuff that did get boring. So once again, simple puzzle mechanics. It's just repetitive.
Yeah. Did you finish it?
Yeah, 100%.
Bloody hell. And what's the exciting, like, I gave up? Does it get better at the end, or does it just do the same thing?
It gets more challenging. No, the overworld just stays the same. It's just simple push block mechanics to open up a new area or whatever. But the actual levels that you're playing through, they become more varied. You'll have escort missions, and you'll have submissions as well, which will be a little bit more varied than the usual get to the end of this level, beat all the enemies. I just think the actual game itself, when you're playing the strategy elements, it's really well done and fun while you're playing it as well. Good laugh.
Are you tempted by DK Adventure?
Like I always do, I sold Mario and Rabbids. It's gone. So if they did sell it separately, I might be tempted, yes.
I think if you love the main game, you'd absolutely love DK Adventure. Unbelievably. What about you, Nick? Did you say that you've played it?
Yeah, I think I'm on World 3. I didn't finish it. I also
did you just give up as well?
I didn't give up. I enjoyed what I played. I just stopped playing it. And I would like to get the DLC eventually. It's on my wish list. I'm just waiting for a sale.
Yeah, it is
because
very good.
They've had the gold edition on sale for about, I think, 15 or 20 quid, which is the full game and the DLC.
I know, that is a bargain.
But they didn't discount the DLC at the same time, so I didn't pick it. I've not picked it up. When they discount the DLC, I'll get it, and then I'll probably go through it and finish it, probably.
Yeah, it's good. What about you, Greg? Does the game appeal to you in any way?
I played through it, I think, one mission, because my brother has it. So if I ever get an inkling that I maybe want to play it, I imagine I can probably borrow it off him and see what it's like. But everybody seems to drop off around like the third world or something, so I don't know. I have a feeling it's probably not going to be for me either.
I mean, if it didn't have Mario in it, there'd be no interest whatsoever, would there? So it's like, yeah.
True.
So, Greg, what game have you been playing?
Don't be excited just because you don't know what it is.
Too late, I'm excited.
Well, obviously, like a couple of weeks ago, I posted a pointlessly cryptic tweet, or not tweet, a post on Discord saying that I'd just picked up a new game that isn't new, and also a wonderful game that may or may not be wonderful. And obviously, you hear the word wonderful, you think Wonderful 101, so yes, that was one of the games I picked up. The other game, and this was with another part of my CEX voucher from a few weeks ago. When you think of New Super Mario Brothers, generally, I would think. Or
New Yoshi's
3DS.
Island?
Yeah, but what you probably won't think of is, and this is probably quite relevant to some of the news this week, new International Track and Field on the DS. So, like, it was like really cheap, and like obviously, like I said earlier, I absolutely love the original PS1 game, and like even the one on the N64 and Dreamcast, I really like them as well. This one's got a very different, it's a more cartoony sort of style. It's got wee bits of like music from like the original. I think it must be like the NES Track and Field games or something. It's got wee clips of music like that before you start like the events and stuff. But unlike those games where you're like frantically mashing the buttons, and this here you are destroying that touchscreen. You're basically, it's got like for the sprint, for example, 100-meter sprint, you've got like it's like two wee targets on either side at the bottom of the touchscreen, and you have to like flick frantically with your stylus between those 2 points just to hit each point. And most of the games, as you can imagine, in the old track and field games, most of like the running and stuff, it is tapping those buttons. So most of the games this here is like scratching the the bottom of the screen. Even the archery, which you would think maybe it'd be something like pulling back on the touch screen and letting go on arrow. Nope, you're weirdly you're still scratching the bottom of the screen, and there's this like sort of target going around. And I haven't really actually figured out how that works properly yet, because the target sort of goes around. If you scratch a bit quicker, it goes higher up in the screen or whatever. But it's like trying to hit the target. It's just really bizarre. I'm not really sure what way that works. But yeah, it's got a good selection of games. I haven't actually beat it all yet. There's like it's kind of like split into wee like groups of like 4 events. So I'm currently on the easy mode. I think you unlock higher difficulties after that, but you start at that and it's like grouped off into 4 groups. So you start with like a sprint, and maybe there'll be like high jump and swimming or something, and you go through each one sequentially, and if you don't meet like the minimum requirements, like the qualifying score, then you'll be kicked off and you'll have to start all 4 events again. So I mean, the structure's fine. Like, you might hit an event where, like, I think there was a skeet shooting one, and I didn't quite have a grasp of how that worked properly. So every time I would come to it, I was failing it and having to start again. So it took me quite a few goes at that, so it's slightly irritating in that way. But it's just alright. It's not great. I kind of wish they did do different things with the touchscreen, because there are times where you can use the buttons, like I say, you're swiping left and right to like build up stuff, and then you'll maybe like there'll be another target in the middle of the screen where you just like you have to press that to like, obviously if you're doing like the long jump or something, like it's like to hold in to change your angle and stuff. But that's also mapped to like the X button or up on the D-pad. So it's slightly odd that there isn't like buttons that you can use for sprinting and stuff as well. You have to use the touchscreen. But if there's a wee bit more variety in the way the events played out, I think there could have been a pretty decent game there. But it's not a patch in the older games.
Yeah, is this the one where they've got like mad like Pyramid Head and stuff like that in it? And
there are unlockable characters. I haven't got any of them yet, so I'm not sure. There are like advertisements around. You'll see like there's like a hot air balloon, I think, with like Silent Hill wrote on it and stuff.
Yeah, he's in it. I'm sure. I'm looking at my DS games. I've got memories of this guy. I've got decent memories of it. I remember having fun with it. But I think it's got loads of mad characters.
Cool. Yeah, quite possibly. The only character I've used so far is a character called Dirk, because he reminds me of Dirk Kuyt. He's got a big long blonde hair and all.
Brilliant,
yeah,
brilliant.
It's alright. I will play it a wee bit more.
I'd just be afraid of digging a groove across my touchscreen.
Oh, that's inevitably going to happen. My DS is finished.
Did any of you guys play a game called California Games?
Yes,
On
with
the NES.
they got
Hacky
skating
sack
on there
and
as
stuff
well. Hacky sack. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
Oh, I can remember my thumb doing the three. Oh God, with the blisters me and my brother used to get playing that game. Cool. Anyway, right, let's get on to the topic of the week. I love the fact that we've got a topic of the week, but it's actually probably the thing we talk about least in the whole podcast. We chat about everything for ages, and then we chat about it for about 3 minutes every week. I think it's because it's the last thing, so we're like, all want to need to get off. But this week, it is Google Stadia and the advent of post-physical media. Google Stadia's kind of actually got announced, and has anybody even mentioned it since?
I've heard nothing
Not really.
else about it
I know,
since
exactly.
its initial reveal.
Yeah, I think obviously it's worth sort of like maybe just briefly talking about kind of what everybody's doing and then kind of people's views on that. So Google Stadia, obviously everyone knows what that is. Purely streaming, play it in YouTube, go from a link from Twitter, share game states, kind of do all that. We know what that is. A week later, Apple announced what they're doing is Apple Arcade, which is a Netflix service for all of their devices from Mac, iPad, phone, laptop, stuff like that. But it's not streaming. You can download them, but it's like a pay per month, probably $9.99 a month, and you can play whatever you like. Nintendo are not doing anything like that. You could say the streaming games in Japan are a bit like that. That's as close as they're getting to it. Maybe NES Online, actually, is probably the closest thing that they're doing to it, and SNES Online, inevitably. Sony have PlayStation Now, which they've been doing for years, which no one seems to talk about. Xbox have got Game Pass, but also xCloud, which they're going to launch soon. Are they going to announce it at E3? I mean,
this year, I think it's coming. Yeah,
is it?
I think
So that sounds quite similar. Yeah. We're all moving to digital. We all hated digital coming along and wanted physical media, but very slowly we're itching towards digital. We're clearly itching towards streaming as well. Lee, what are your views on it all? Which method appeals to you? What do you think will happen? What do you want to happen?
Pre-Switch, I would have said physical still has its hold on me. Now I haven't got much to say about it, but now I've played the Switch, and I'm always concerned about filling the fridge. The capacity of my memory card is 256 gigabyte, I think, and I've got about 30 gigabytes left on it, and I've just had to rethink. I think you said it one week, Darren. I've had to rethink how I consume my media, basically. The eShop games are far cheaper than buying some physical ones. So it's like I'm looking at the eShop, right? I'm not going to have room for this. So I'm playing a game and then I'm archiving it. And I've started recently archiving a lot more. And there's at least another 20 games on the Switch that I know I can archive those as well and save another 30 gigabytes easy. And it is getting less physical, and it doesn't really bother me, to be honest.
That's a surprising thing. Like, I love owning. I mean, if you could see, when you can probably see bits of behind me and stuff like that, I love owning. The stuff I own is unbelievable, and I've always been like that. I've always been a collector from CDs to DVDs to Blu-ray, games, everything you can think of. And I've moved a little bit more digitally, and I don't know if it's because of the Switch, because it is portable and handheld, and that helps. It definitely comes. I definitely feel lazier than I used to be. I still own loads of Blu-rays, and I've got a 4K player, and I own 4K, and it looks better than films I've got on iTunes. But when I'm sat there thinking of something to watch, I'm like, I could walk over to the bookshelf and get a Blu-ray out and take the disc out and put it in the machine, or I could see what I've got on iTunes or what's on Netflix, because I'm lazier than I used to. I hate to say it, but I'm just being honest. It's like, oh God, I can't be arsed. And the same with Switch. The games I've got physical. If I'm sat on the sofa and I'm like, I want to change game, and I'm like, what game is in there? And I look at it and I'm like, and I want to play something else. I'm like, I can't be bothered. It sounds awful, but I do. I'm like, if I'm holding it, it's different. But when I'm playing on the telly, I'm like, I can't be bothered to get up and change games. So digital appeals to me a hell of a lot more than it used to, which is really kind of shameful. But I think I like looking at stuff, so I like having the boxes. Like on the Wii U, I did the mad thing. I bought them digitally and physical, like all the big games like Mario Kart and Mario Maker and stuff like that. And I'm not doing that again. That was ridiculous. But
money bags of the wild.
The thing is, I'm not because of that. That's the thing. It's like, kind of bonkers. Greg, you're a traditionalist. You like physical stuff. But what are your, what are your views and preferences on it all, and the Switch, I guess?
You kind of touched on it there as well. Like you mentioned, I think it must have been last week when we sort of talked about it a wee bit, like how you adapt to whatever the modern technology is and whatever way things are being delivered to you. And like you, I'm the thought of going to change a cartridge, like going opening the drawer, pulling out the the game or whatever. Like quite often I'll just play something that I have on my system that I haven't beat yet or something. But there's still that thing in the back of my head that's just like, when these services go down or whatever, like the game's gone. And like Lee saying about archiving all his games and stuff, like that's fine, but like if I get an itching to play something, like am I going to want to spend, that's going to take a wee bit of time to download again or something. Sometimes it's like, I do think digital will be the way forward for me, probably. I still buy all the big Switch games physically still, but if I had more memory on the Switch, I currently have 400 gig. If like I had a way more space, like I'd probably be quite happy to download almost everything digitally, I think. But it is that space and having to like delete or archive stuff or whatever. I think I will be fine with the streaming feature, but like the Stadia, it doesn't excite me in the slightest, because I mean we don't know what games are on it. But regardless of that, like Nintendo games are really what I am mainly into. So like Google, Sony, Microsoft or whatever, like they're never going to have that, so it doesn't really matter what way they're delivering it.
That's fair enough. What about you, Nick? Where do you sit?
I'm similar to you, I think. I also like physical, but I switched maybe 10 years ago. I switched music and films from physical to digital. I had hundreds of CDs and DVDs 10 years ago, and I just sold them all one day before I moved abroad, actually. And then it's just so much easier to have an iTunes subscription, or to have a Netflix subscription. But I don't know if this is going to work in the same way for games, really, because I mean music and films, I think I said it last time, it's not interactive entertainment, is it? Whereas games are. You need input for games, and if everything's being sent over the internet, it's going to affect it, depending on where you live, on the speed of your connection and things like that. So I think, we talked about this last time. So from that point of view, streaming games is definite no for me. I'm not interested in that whatsoever. I prefer to own the games that I have. And the 3DS was the first console I had where I started buying digital, and I had a couple of retail games digital, like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask I had digital, and something else I can't remember, but it is more convenient, it is easier. And for the Switch, I've got a lot of stuff digital, but everything that's been released at retail, I've bought at retail, except like the special edition, like the limited run stuff. So every first party thing, everything by Bethesda, Skyrim, Doom, Wolfenstein, because it's too expensive digitally. You can always find it cheaper physically. Like I usually pay about 10 to 20% less for physical stuff than I would do digitally. And if they brought down the price of digital stuff to match the retail price, then I would be prepared to buy it digitally. And for me, the big concern is ownership. Like at least, I mean, everything that's on my 3DS and Switch, I can re-download if I want to, but everything that I had digitally on the Wii is gone forever. So,
Yeah, but you still got it on your machine though.
I don't have a Wii anymore.
I know, but what? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
But I would have it on my. But that's the thing. How much was it? Was it 2 gigabytes the maximum you could have on the Wii? If you had an SD
Is that all
card?
it was, really?
Yeah. So once it's gone forever now. If you don't have it downloaded, that's it. It's done, I think. And that obviously will happen one day to the 3DS and probably to the Switch. But then I don't know. I don't mind buying games digitally, but as long as there's some sort of ownership involved, that they are yours. And that's why I think streaming's going to fail. And I think paying companies, is it Apple or Google that's paying companies based on the amount of time spent in the game? I think it's Apple, isn't it?
No, that didn't turn out to be true.
No?
That was the rumour beforehand. Because everyone was like, well, then what about the free-to-play game? Or, the games which you put hundreds of hours, why is that more valuable than a 5-hour masterpiece? That didn't turn out to be true, yeah.
Good. Because that
there are no free-to-play games like that on the service.
That would be a disaster. If
it
developers were paid.
Horrific business model, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I really like the idea of Xbox Game Pass, actually. I think that's a really cool idea, that you get like 100 plus games and they swap in and out, but you have everything, enough to play there, and big hitters, indie games, retro stuff as well, I like that idea. For quite a low amount every month, that would be something that I would be interested in, definitely, if Nintendo did something similar. But then I also, like you guys, I like to own stuff as well.
Yeah, I think ultimately, I think choice is great. I think... And you still got that choice on the other mediums as well. Like, you can still buy films, you can still buy CDs and music and vinyl, and you can. So actually, the choice is good. I think streaming is going to be a big part of the future. I think a lot of people will play Stadia, and I think Xbox and Sony are doing it. I think everybody will do it as an option to play these games. But as long as you can download them as well, and as long as you can buy it, if we've got the option to kind of play them how we want, so we can buy it physical if we want, we can download it digitally if we want, we can pay like a Netflix style service like Game Pass or something like that, where we get just access to a library and we pay £10 a month and we can download them and play them, or we can stream them. I think that kind of environment feels great. We're giving consumers choice, and I think definitely in the short term, when I say short term, I mean say the next 10 years, that's probably what it's going to be. And I think Stadia is going to struggle massively. I don't think it's going to succeed. Have Google succeeded at anything bar search? I'm being serious.
Name something. No. Google Maps.
The mapping service. Yeah, I guess so. Actually, maybe a Pixel phone. Although I don't think that's sold very well. But it's actually a good phone. So, but I think it's bombed in sales and
very successful at getting information from people, aren't they?
Yeah, they're very good at that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but. I actually don't. I can't. It's too soon, but I kind of credit to him for trying, and credit to him for maybe pushing streaming on another level. But I think it's probably going to be Xbox who are going to nail it, because they're going to give you options.
I think so as well.
And actually, I actually think Apple Arcade is going to be I think it sounds great, and I think that sounds like a decent way of doing it. You pay us $9.99 a month, and you can download all these games and play them as much as you want. I think that feels like where we need to be now. I think streaming is a bit too soon. Although
I think about Apple Arcade, I think it's a good idea and it's interesting, but I don't think it would convince anybody to buy an Apple product just for that. I think it would appeal to people who already have Macs or iPhones or iPads, but I think getting new customers, it's not something I think that's going to.
I think it will help. I think it will. I mean, I'm not that I care, but I think for them, I think I think when you're looking at what to kind of an ecosystem to get into, and then you think of Apple, and you're like, oh, they've got Apple Music as well, and they've got iMessage, which is a really amazing kind of messaging service. Then they've got this news system, they've got this new TV stuff, and it's to bundle it all in and give you a big deal, and you get all this entertainment. But, I feel as if as a collective, it could be like, oh, actually, I won't mind tapping into all that. Maybe not one of them individually, but I think the volume of new services that they're providing. And then the fact that they've still got by far the best tablet. Is there any other tablet can compete in the best watch and the best? So I do, I feel like, we'll see how it goes. But they could be onto something with all these new services that they're going to launch in. But I think it sounds good. The worrying thing for me is loads of the games on that service are coming out for the Switch. And I'm like, I want to play them on. I don't want to play them on a bloody iPhone or an iPad or whatever. I want to play them on my Switch. But if I pay $9.99 a month and I can play every single indie game that's coming out for the Switch every week, or I have to buy them individually for £10 each or £20 each, it's like it's going to be hard to convince myself to buy them. To be honest, when I'm like looking at my iPad thinking I can just play them on this. So that's my worry. Like Nintendo doing like an Apple Arcade, but for indies, where you pay $9.99 a month and you get access to loads of indies every week.
Especially if they're compatible with some like 8-bit controller or something, so you can actually use a controller. You just prop up your iPad and away you go with a controller.
Oh, there is. I've got one.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do that.
And
I've got
seamlessly with most games. Yeah. Well, games that accept.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. And it works on my Apple TV.
Wow.
So I've got a controller. It works on my phone. The iPad works on my Apple TV as well. So, and I don't want it to. I'd rather still play it on my Switch. I don't want to play it on that. So, but it could be really tempting. But yeah, so there's a lot of possibilities. I mean, in terms of Nintendo, what do you think they're going to do? Obviously, Xbox, PlayStation, Apple, Google, they're going to go all in on this new technology and streaming and passes and stuff like that. Nintendo is still like, hey, buy my game for £50. Or outside of NES Online, and third parties are dabbling, obviously, but outside of NES Online, SNES Online, do you think Nintendo are going to dive in a little bit more? Where are they going to go? Greg, what's your instinct on what Nintendo are going to do in this environment?
Well, obviously, they have experimented with Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah. Although, is that them testing it, though, or is that...
Well,
Ubisoft and Capcom, yeah.
Well, yeah, I suppose they're testing it, but it is on Nintendo's system.
And
I would
Nintendo
actually,
servers as well. Actually.
Yeah, I would
It's
actually be
Nintendo servers.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. I've been able to try those out myself, just to get a wee sample of what that sort of thing is like. Maybe we will eventually get to try something like that on the Switch here in the UK, or wherever you are in Taiwan or whatever. I think Nintendo will bring in some sort of. I'm not sure if it'll happen this generation with the Switch, but there will be some sort of streaming service at some point. And you mentioned there like SNES Online stuff, like obviously that hasn't been confirmed yet, and I think it'll be interesting to see what way their sort of like pricing works and stuff, because we all sort of think the NES, what we get for the Nintendo Switch Online at the minute, that's fine, that's probably good value for money, but if they start adding more stuff for that price point, like it's like too much. They can't give us that much stuff for the amount of price we're paying for Nintendo Switch Online at the minute. So it'll be interesting to see what way they sort of like structure their price points for adding different services and stuff. So I don't really know what to think about it, to be honest.
I've got one for you.
Yep.
Nintendo do a Game Pass equivalent.
Yep.
They launch it, so they've got loads of third parties on there, older third parties, and every single first party game, $9.99 a month. Do you subscribe to it? Nick, you're shaking your head.
No way. It's not going to happen. Look at how much money they've made from sales of Smash Brothers.
I'm not saying it will happen.
Pokemon and Mario
I'm not saying it
Odyssey
will.
and Zelda Breath of the Wild.
I'm asking, what would you do
Well,
if they did?
Of course I would subscribe. Of course I would. Of course.
So you wouldn't buy the games? Because you said you will love owning games and you'd buy Nintendo games. So you'd say, you know what, stuff it, I'll pay $99 a month and I'll play every single one.
I probably would subscribe. I would. I probably would subscribe, to be honest. Yeah.
But this is my point. It's like, we adapt instantly to this new... We're like, no, I want to own it, I want to physically, I want to download it. Oh, $9.99 a month and you can play every single first party Nintendo game. It's like, okay,
if you can download it. If it was streaming, I'd be out. No way. But
no, you can download it.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
But you don't.
By the way, I think Nintendo are going to be last to adopt everything. Of course they are.
Yeah, well.
Which is fine. I'm okay with that. Like, I think
they're doing VR before Microsoft.
But not before Sony.
No.
I think it's going to be a long way off before Nintendo, outside of Japan at least, starts streaming services. I think they're going to go in this direction where they're going to, Pro Switch and then the handheld Switch. And I think especially for that market, like, I think having accounts and streaming and all that stuff it's not for kids, is it? It's not for young people. For the Pro Switch owners, like guys like us, then maybe they would be considering something. But I still think it's going to be. I think they're going to focus a lot more on mobile, to be honest, Nintendo, to get people. Yeah, I know. To get people into the IPs and owning a Switch, buying a Switch, definitely. But I think some of the more sort of advanced or developed or developing, we can say, technologies, they're not going to invest in them quite.
No, they're always concerned about the user base as well, and how many, even with the Wii, they didn't go to HD because they said, not enough people had those 1080p TVs at that time. It's the same with 4K now, they're not going to go there. I don't think even a Switch Pro would, like we've talked about it before, would ever go there. So Nintendo were always concerned about the infrastructure, and they're obviously going to be concerned about the infrastructure of internet connections. They're going to look at it, as I can look at it, and think, it's not ready.
It's a different Nintendo, though. You never know. Never say never.
It is. That's true. It is a different Nintendo now. That's true. Yeah.
Greg, a question. $9.99 a month, Game Pass style. You get access to every single first party game. Do you subscribe to that $9.99 a month, or do you still buy them?
If it was the start of the Switch's life, yes, absolutely subscribing to it. At this point, when I have a selection, like large selection, I have basically most of the first party titles anyway. I wouldn't be getting value for that $9.99 a month at the moment probably for a good wee chunk of time. And I suppose even when the Switch came out at the start, I suppose it probably does take a few months for a few games to build up before that actually seems like a valuable prospect. Because you sort of need that wee sort of like chunk selection of games where it's like it seems like more value for money. Whereas if you
surely if you get one game a month, even that is $9.99 rather than £50 or £40 or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you can play third parties and games you've missed. You can play Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah, I imagine I would do it, and that's something in the future we probably are going to have to be considering. But there's also the fact that even with like the NES Online, like I sort of like beat on it every week, just saying like I don't really care about the NES games, but like that's a big selection of games, and it's kind of hard just to like focus on one for a while. It's like just because they're all there just immediately, it's like, oh, maybe just dip into that for a second, or I'll go dip into this. If you have like Nintendo's first party library just accessible all in one go, you're sort of thinking, I'll maybe just try this out, and it does maybe take your focus away a wee bit, where you don't like properly get into a game because there is just something else there waiting to play. But I suppose that's
the only flaw in that argument, Greg, is that we've all got about 1,000 games in our backlog, and we do have that problem anyway. So
yeah.
What about you, Lee? Would you pay $99 a month, or would you still buy everything individually?
I think you've answered the question already. Is this for third-party games as well, and eShop games and everything?
Some, yeah. It's basically exactly the same as Xbox Pass,
Yeah.
X-Pass.
Yes, I would. At $9.99 seems a bargain as well. I'd be straight in, 2 feet, bang, in you go.
So kind of all of us, from saying that we love physical stuff and owning stuff and worried about the future, have gone, oh no, I'd pay $9.99 a month and just subscribe.
1 second.
All right, Nick.
Does anybody know what the attach rate is for Switch games?
Certain games like Mario Kart are exceptionally high.
Yeah, Mario Kart's 50%.
50%,
over 50%.
yeah.
Over.
But I mean,
Mario Odyssey's near that.
Yeah.
So what the Switch has been out 2 years, and what's the average number of games owned? Do you know, by Switch owners, physical?
It's quite low,
like
apparently.
It's 4, 5, 6.
Good question. I don't know.
So this is the thing: if everybody's paying £10 a month, that's £120 a year.
Yeah.
Let's say that's 2.5 games per year. They're going to be making less money. If the attach rate is high, they're going to be making less money that way. So I don't think it's going to happen. I think.
Well, that's using the $9.99 a month. I think Nintendo would charge more than $9.99.
Of course they would. Yeah,
20, 30 at least. Yeah.
Of course they would. And I think that's why it works for Microsoft, because
They don't sell games.
They don't sell games. They've got low number of people. I think the Switch has already overtaken the Xbox One, hasn't it? By sales, or is it close? At least it's close, and it's been out 4 or 5 years longer. And yeah,
last autumn,
the attach rate's lower.
The attach rate was 4.8, so about 5. That's over 2 years, well, a year and a half.
Yeah, so I think at $9.99 it wouldn't happen. I think at £20 but then I think less people would jump in at £20 a month. It's quite a lot, but that's the equivalent of 5 games a year. So yeah, I mean,
but that's not 5. That attach rate is not 5 a year. That's 5.
No.
Lifetime.
I'm saying if it was £240 a year, we buy more than 5 games a year, first party. I'm sure. So for us, it would be good, but I don't know if it would be good for everyone. So they could.
Yeah,
still
no, but
sell.
I think people like a bargain.
They do.
So people may only buy 1 or 2 games a year, but they see the $9.99 and go, "Wow, I can play everything, so I'll do that." And then spend. That's the idea of the concept. Then they spend more money than they normally would.
Yeah, and then they've got an income every month from millions of people.
I don't think they'll do it, but it's mad to think that actually that's what Xbox are doing. Like, people who've got an Xbox, they've got X-Pass, and they can play every single first party game and about 100 third party games. There's some big third party games on there.
Microsoft release like 1 or 2 first party games a year. Like Forza Horizon 4 and Sea of Thieves were the last. Oh, and Crackdown. Okay, Crackdown. In the last year, that's what's come out.
True, that's a good point.
So
that's the best point you've made so far.
They're not
That
having
is a good point.
A first party release.
Ori and the
every
Blind
month or every
Forest,
couple of
Cuphead.
months. Yeah.
But it's still a bargain, and the rumours that
It
X Pass is coming to Switch, is like, fucking bring it on.
I think with this discless, and I was reading actually this morning after I woke up that they're going to combine Game Pass with Xbox Live Gold, because they're actually separate, so you can play games but not online if you've got Xbox Game Pass. So that's going to be $15 a month. I don't know what that is going to be in pounds. $15 a month, and then of course they've got the Xbox discless system coming out in May, and if that's $150, $15 a month for online play and any game you want to play, that's an incredible deal, really.
Yeah,
I can see lots of people jumping in.
Are they definitely releasing a discless Xbox?
Yeah, May the 7th apparently it's coming out. Xbox One S, not X. It's an S.
I had absolutely no idea.
It's going to be
I hadn't heard it confirmed either.
I don't know if it's confirmed, but everybody's talking about it.
Oh.
Come on, Dazzy, you know how much you like.
Didn't think you like leaks. I just looked on Xbox, the Game Pass and stuff. You know, Pro Evo 2009, Halo Trilogy, Halo 5, Gears of War 4. Pardon?
Count me in. I'll play it. I love Retro Pro Evo 2009.
2019. Yeah, Sea of Thieves, Forza, State of Decay.
It's incredible.
Loads of indies.
Yeah,
Loads of. It's about
really good.
$9.99 a month.
Is that pounds or dollars?
Pounds.
£99. Oh, really? It's
Probably
£99?
both.
There.
Probably both. But Crackdown and Lego Batman, Lego
it's
Movie
good.
that's just come out. It's impressive. It's it's a really great service. Lucky them. Really, but I'd take it. I'd bring it on. But anyway, yeah. Who knows what will happen? But I think we all agree Nintendo probably won't really join in on any of it. But you know, if Nintendo, the thing Nintendo is this weird company. Like if Xbox now, if they put like Game Pass on it, or Xcade or whatever it's called, xCloud, Sony players will be like, oh, I'll get a Switch and I can get to play all the Xbox games and Switch games, and I've got the PlayStation. You know, Stadia will release a Stadia app for the Switch, the one on every device. So and the Switch could be this sort of like hub of all these services. And Nintendo don't really need to do any of it, and they're still selling their games for £50, and everyone buys them.
Here's a new Zelda game, yeah.
Yeah, because we're mental.
35 million sales, £60.
Yeah, exactly. 100 games for £9.99, or Zelda for £50. I'll play Zelda for £50. Yeah, awesome. Right, that was a long one. We'll do better next week. But it was fun. I enjoy it. It's good. Decent time. I didn't mind Saturday mornings actually. I think it could be a good routine for us. But thank you guys for joining us, and thanks everyone for listening. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nintendo Review Podcast. If you like our content, please don't forget to subscribe, give us a like, and ask us a question. You can find this very podcast on all good podcast providers such as iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, and YouTube. Just search for the Nintendo Review Podcast. We are also on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Discord, YouTube, and our very own website, nintendoreview.co.uk, where you'll find great content such as news, reviews, and impressions. Drop by and say hello. Podcast extras! Extras! Podcast extras!
All my stuff's out.
Mammoth. Hey, you got the labo early.
Got it early. I got 2 Labo. All my stuff's out. I'm just surrounded by Honestly, this is Nintendo everywhere. Anyway, I thought we chatted about this already. All my stuff's out.
Mammoth.
All my stuff's out.
Mammoth. Wait a minute.
All my stuff's out.
Mammoth. We've broken the 2-hour mark, boys.